Hey there. Hey y'all, whoever's joining me, say hello. Let me know where you are and what time it is where you are and how you feel about losing an hour. Cuz I think I think everywhere lost an hour, right? I know some places don't acknowledge um when it changes like that. But tell me where y'all from and tell me what time it is and let me know if you're returning to see me. I am waiting on, we are on here, just so you know, I try to be careful with my titles because TikTok be acting like they don't like my titles for nothing. Or they don't want us helping folks to get healthy. So I'm waiting on Dr. Tanya to get on, and we're going to be talking about estrogen dominance, which is like hormonal imbalances. And if you're dealing with fibroids, if you're dealing with, don't mind me, I'm looking this way. Yes, definitely tap the screen. We want to get as many people on as possible. She'll soon be on. I'm waiting on her to get on. Tap the screen. If you're dealing with hormonal imbalances, fibroids, her and I both have dealt with fibroids and have been able to heal. I heal naturally. She'll tell her story about, she might bring it up. If not, you can ask questions and I'll make sure to ask the question because she can't see any of your questions. But definitely tap the screen, keep tapping the screen, and please share this live to beef it up some, get more people on here looking and watching. Excuse me. There she is right there.
Instagram. Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. Are you having issues getting on Instagram?
I'm actually on my. I am at.
Let me
So hold on a second.
let me
Let me
see.
see if I think the issue is finding you on. If I can, because I'm on right now on Instagram.
Hey there,
Hold
sis. How
on.
you doing? Okay, let me see. I'll just go. I wonder, can I go? Now, I've never gone on
Hi,
live with
Shanice on Instagram.
let me see.
Sorry,
No, you're good. Did you invite me on Instagram?
I don't think. I think that might be part of the issue.
Let me see.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sorry, everyone. We will get started in a sec. We're trying to figure this thing out. So we're going
Yes.
live for Instagram
Hi, Shanice.
and we're going live here on TikTok. We got TikTok down a little bit better than we do Instagram. But
Yes.
give us a
I may
sec.
have to sound out the Instagram real quick, Shanice, and I'll be back in like 2 seconds. I
Okay.
just need to connect with Miss Natalie because we're
Oh,
doing
it's talking to Shanice. Okay.
two people on the live. Sorry, I'm talking to one of my followers on Instagram.
You're
So I'll
good.
be back. Give me a moment. And
See.
so, are you also New Light
New
on
Life
Instagram?
7. Mm-hmm.
New Life 7.
So yes, those of you who are viewing us, please, there's going to be some important information, some very vital information that could be helpful to you. If you're a woman, especially, or if you know someone that is a woman that has dealt with fibroid issues or estrogen dominance, which means hormonal imbalances, those type of things that have caused a lot of issues and that has been causing a lot of issues for a very long time for women. Um, we want to talk about some things and also share diet, like a diet regimen or diet, like how we're eating and what maybe we should be eating and what we shouldn't be eating. So we want to go over that with you all if you want to stick around. So make sure to share this live and also tap the screen so we can get more views, because the more information we get out there, the better, because it's helping more people. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And it'll be awesome for your health.
So Natalie, I just requested you on Instagram as a follow,
Okay.
and
Let me see.
so I
Let me see. Maybe I have something off of mine. Oh, wait, I got it. Started following. Okay, it shows you started following me. So Let me check real quick. Oops, hold on. Let me check.
Do you see me on the heart, Dr._Tanya_Lambert?
I see that you're following me now. Let's see. Let me see something. Okay. So I think I just went live, but
Okay, I will.
let me see if I can. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the love. Keep tapping that screen, you all. And we are about to get started. We are talking about estrogen dominance, i.e., hormonal imbalances. I had a title, but I erased it was a title on this one on Instagram, but I erased it. I didn't even erase it, but I got to read it. Let me see. Okay. So I see you. Yeah. There you go. There you go. I think I
All
invited you.
right, going live.
Yay, we did it. Okay.
Yes.
We got it. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. How do you do that? How do you get that whistle out of there? Do you still hear that whistle?
It's a little bit.
Oh, shoot. That's not good. Oh, my goodness. That is horrible. Let
That's all right. We're working it
me
out.
see something.
Well, hi everybody. I guess we have some little technical difficulties, but we're gonna get it sorted out.
See if I can figure out a way to get that whistle out. Nope, I still hear it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's a little better now. Well,
Okay. Oh my goodness, that
somewhat.
sound. I wonder why it's doing that. Let me see. We may end up having to cut one of these off, which is probably will probably be the sacrifice of Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's just come out of this one. If you're
Yes.
here, I see I have one person will join. If you're on TikTok, come look for me, New Life 7, and you can join our live here, okay? We'll come on out of here. Woo! Ooh, that was too much. Okay.
All right.
We had to sacrifice Instagram. We are trying something new, y'all, because we were trying to get a bigger platform, to talk to more women, but that ain't gonna work. We'll figure
Yes,
it out. We'll practice. Dr. Tanya is super busy. We're both super busy, so we'll figure it out for next time.
we'll do.
Yeah,
That's it, because it would have been nice, but
yeah.
so yes. How are you doing this evening, Miss Natalie?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm so grateful that we are here back on this live
Me
to
too.
talk about, fibroids, how women can heal themselves naturally, balance their estrogen, progesterone levels through food and diet, and stress management. Because that's really important. If you don't manage your stress levels, it doesn't matter how healthy you eat. You may not actually heal from what the disease you're trying to heal with diet and nutrition. So,
Yes, that's definitely true. A lot of people always say, it's something I talk about in my own personal lives. You hear about a lot of women who have dealt with fibroids and they'll get a myomectomy, they'll get their fibroids removed and they're not educated as into what to do once real life sets back in. And so they'll heal from the surgery, but then continue to eat the way they're eating, not giving their bodies the nutrition that they need, the minerals that they need, things to help balance out the hormones. And then the fibroids go right back. So you go through all of that to get them removed, taken off work, just the whole humdrum of all that. And then they grow back. And it's because we're not being educated enough so that we're taking care of ourselves wholly, like real wellness, real overall health and wellness.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Essentially many times when women, like even myself, being in the medical field and going to the doctor as a medical student when I had fibroids, um, I didn't have anyone at my, any physician that could tell me about nutrition. I had to do a ton of my own personal research, trial and error, intense studying to figure this out, and on top of finishing my medical education and just being really overwhelmed with trying to talk to a OB or someone that could coach me on diet and nutrition with fibroids. And most of the time we get blank stares, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Just it's birth control, or you're just gonna have to go to surgery. And you know so it's so important that tonight, like, we wanted to talk about, like, just different foods that we have done, that we have included in our diet, or like things that we've learned that can possibly help you all out there, or it's someone that you love that's going through deciding between having a surgery or going the holistic route, or a bit of both.
Yeah. Because there's nothing wrong. I always tell people, if you choose to go the surgery route, there's nothing wrong with that because that's your journey. But there's a lot of women out there who prefer not to go through surgery or to do something a little less invasive. So knowing that half the battle is just knowing the options you have, and also knowing what you should do when it comes to the healing process, and when it comes to just the self-healing process of it all.
I agree with that. So,
Yeah.
Natalie, what were some foods that you included in your diet? Like, how did you get started, with your nutrition journey with healing your fibroids?
Well, where it started for me,
Or the
first,
fibroids, pardon me.
right, the fibroids, right. So, before I get started, just real quick, y'all, if you're on here and you want more people to see this, more women, whomever, people women that have gone through fibroids, or they are currently dealing with having fibroids, or just got surgery, or whatever the case may be, or you're just a woman, it'd just be good to hear all of this because it's just knowledge that's just needed. Keep tapping the screen and also share the live. And thank you for those of you that have already started sharing the live, and also tapping the screen because it's going to get more views. And that's what you want. It's not about us. This is about getting as much information out as we can, since we do have the platform. Okay. So to answer your question, where I first started, I found out that I had fibroids early on. Not early on, like 3.5 years ago. But
Mm-hmm.
my whole mindset was, oh, I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. So that was my focus. So I kind of like suffered through the fibroids and kind of treated it as normal. Like, well, at least I don't have to get surgery. They're not bothering me to the point. I mean, I know I bleed a lot and I do go through this and I do go through that, and, abnormal this, abnormal that. I still treated it as kind of like normal. So, where I got tired was last year. And I just had this attitude of, I need these fibroids to go. I need them gone. So I started kind of like researching, and I went before God, and I was like, I need to know how to heal naturally, because the last time I talked to the doctor I then had, she immediately was like, surgery, you already have 3 kids. You're almost 40 years old. I'm now 42, but she was like, you're almost 40 years old. You're done having kids, right? I said, yes. She goes, just get the surgery, just get a hysterectomy. And I'm like, no. So I had to start doing my due diligence into, like, what should I be doing? So honestly, a lot of the knowledge that I received, some of it was me researching and taking the time to research, but a big chunk of it was guidance from God. I lie to you not. And so I started with juicing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest thing. But I also wanted to juice, but I wanted to do something that was where it wasn't, where it was attainable, where it was something I could keep up. And my goal was to try to heal within a year. So my thing was, okay, I'm going to try this juicing thing. I'm going to do it for 3 days out of the week. I take really, really excellent supplements. I lie to you, they're amazing. So it's like gut health and, a little bit of everything
Mm-hmm.
that I incorporate. Collagen, all of that like plays a part, in health. So I started juicing. So that's where I got a lot of my nutrients from. So a lot of the foods, and I started cutting back on the processed foods. So much beef, meat that have hormones in it. I started doing more when I do eat meat. Um, I started doing organic, kosher,
Mm-hmm.
or like grass fed.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's not injected with a bunch of hormones, right? So when I do eat meat, that's the type of meat I eat. I do eat, but I don't eat meat often. But when I do eat it, it's either organic, grass fed, or kosher. That's all I go with. I don't play around with no other
Same
with
here.
other meats, right? You gotta be careful because that's what makes the fibroids grow. That's what throws things off in your body is the hormones
Mm-hmm.
that they're placing in the animal, and then you consider like how was the animal killed? Like there's a whole lot that goes with that. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into all of that, but it goes deep.
Oh
So
yeah.
anyway, so I got a lot of my nutrients from the juicing. And what I started to do was, in the juicing, I do 3-day juicing. So I do a green juice, which has more green veggies and celery, cucumber, and, then I added like green apples, things for sweetening, making it a little sweeter. And then I have a gold one that has more of the pineapples and
Mm.
um, um, cucumbers. And then I have a red one that I do that's super sweet. It has like a bunch of fruit in it and beets and stuff. But what I also started doing is I started adding herbs into it. So I would brew. I brew things like dandelion root, which is good for the liver,
Mm-hmm.
burdock root, um, stinging nettle, red
Mm-hmm.
raspberry leaf. What else? Sometimes hibiscus. Gotta be careful with hibiscus, women. If you're trying to get pregnant or you're pregnant, be careful with the hibiscus. Okay. So I tend not to mention hibiscus a lot because I don't want, you got to do your due diligence and study what works for you and what doesn't. But I was using all of those herbs, and what I would do to cut the so that my blood sugar levels will be balanced, because we know juicing could cause an imbalance in the your blood level, your blood sugar levels. So I would add, or I do add, the brewed tea because it has no sweetener in it. I would brew it overnight and then I would strain it, and it's always best to use um the herbs out of the tea bag. So start cutting your tea bags open. If that's what you have, cut them open and then just add them in the water, let it sit, and then drain them in like a little, what are those things called? Like a colander or a little, like those type of, little small mesh.
Strainer, little
Yeah,
mesh.
strainer.
Yeah.
Um, is way better. Okay. But that's what I would do to balance out not only the sugar levels in the juice, but I also, um, would get those extra nutrients because the body needs all of that. All those herbs, the burdock root, the dandelion leaves, all of that, your body actually needs that because it's helping to cleanse the liver. So that's where I started. I started with that, and then incorporating the how I was eating, how much of the bad stuff I would eat. I can't say that I don't eat some junk food sometimes because I still do, but I chose to go where I did way more of the good stuff and way less of the bad stuff. So
You
it
know,
kind of,
Molly,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Now, I really do like your approach. I have to be honest with you because sometimes, a lot of women, like, they go like super. I mean, you do want to have a clean diet, but sometimes they get to the point where they're super strict. They're not enjoying their food anymore. Then they fall off,
That's
or it
right.
causes them more stress. And honestly, the stress, does it actually is counterproductive to,
Yep.
the healing process. And so, you do want to get rid of the refined sweeteners that is not good for you, or dairy, especially the dairy, because that regular dairy
Ooh,
out of the
dairy is
store.
horrible. Right.
Yeah, there's so many other options now with milk, and I wouldn't encourage like those processed soy milk or anything like that either. But you don't want to get to the point where you're just how to put this, stressing yourself out over your food, and to the point that you're not getting proper nutrition,
That's right.
or you're not eating anything you like,
Yeah.
because then you end up just not really being, it becomes unsustainable,
Yeah.
and Your whole purpose is to heal, and managing your stress levels is super important. You don't want to get hangry and then just reverse everything that you were working on.
Reverse it all.
So, yes,
Yeah,
you
it's
have to,
so
like, certainly, yes.
that's so true. And that's why I like if you go and you look at my videos, you see that I'm enjoying making my food. And the reason why that plays a huge part. And I know everybody doesn't have like all this time to sit at home and make food, but there's ways to incorporate things. For instance,
Mm-hmm.
nuts are really, nuts for the most part are good unless you're allergic to it, and too much of them could be bad. So you have too much of anything really, if you're not careful, could be bad. But like I do things like I'll make a cashew dressing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 5 ingredients. That's it. Like water, oil, olive oil, water, garlic, cashew, and lemon juice, and then seasonings. Like, how clean is that? That's super clean, and you're getting nutrients. And then if you change the salt to like Himalaya salt, that's a mineral. Himalaya salt has way more minerals in it than just regular, even sea salt. Sea salt is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but Himalaya salt has way more minerals in it. So now you're giving your body something that it actually needs, and it's enjoyable. So it's about enjoying food too. Like, it's about enjoying food. And that's why I don't preach going cold turkey off of everything. I don't preach going, oh, you need to go vegan. You need to stop eating this and that, because I know some vegans who their fibroids are still growing. And you know why? Number one, they're probably stressing, trying to figure out what they
Mm-hmm.
can eat, how much of it they can eat. They're probably stressing about it. And they're probably doing a lot of vegan processed foods because they're trying to
Yes.
figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
Or for the ladies, while I'm not against tofu, honestly, if you have fibroids, you should not be eating tofu, even if it's organic and non-GMO, because tofu
so
it is a natural source of plant estrogens. And, that might be good for someone who has low estrogen, who doesn't have for whatever reason, they just stop having their period. Then in that case, if they're having, like, I mean, it has to be organic, non-GMO tofu, then that's one thing. Or if someone is like menopausal and it can help with symptoms of hot flashes. But if you have fibroids, no tofu. It doesn't matter how organic it is, non-GMO. You just want to stay away from that, because that's part of the problem is estrogen dominance. So that's important that you stay away from that.
can you do me a favor? Can
Yes,
you explain estrogen dominance? Most people I notice, like, that was a new word for me. And I'm glad you said it because now I use it. But I always say hormonal imbalances. But I like estrogen dominance because it is is a totally it's an imbalance. So can you explain?
yes. Sure, definitely. So the thing about estrogen is that, throughout your monthly cycle for women who are menstruating, your estrogen levels are always fluctuating. They mostly they increase around the time that you're about to ovulate, and then they decrease again. Now, the issue with estrogen, when it comes to fibroids, one of the causes of fibroids is estrogen dominance, which just simply means that it's higher than it should be, than it normally should be. And for every woman, that might be slightly different, which is why it's so important to get your estrogen levels checked with your doctor,
Mm,
to find out what exactly your estrogen levels are, before even going on any particular type of treatment. But even then, I want to put this out there that, unfortunately, with estrogen dominance, it's caused us as women to think that estrogen is the enemy
mm,
in our, and which is really not. Actually, when it comes to what you just said, Natalie, hormonal imbalance is actually it. Well, it's estrogen dominance and fibroids, but which you want is to bring your hormones back into balance.
mm,
Because even if you're going to go on, like, when you start eating clean and healthy, and trying to get more fruits and vegetables, sometimes women go on, oh gosh, I have to, like, completely, get my estrogen levels super, like, down, like, essentially eat a ton of food that's supposed to reduce the estrogen levels. What you're really trying to do is balance your estrogen and progesterone,
mm,
because you do need estrogen, well, normal healthy levels, in order to maintain, your moods and also your brain functioning. Because for women, estrogen helps us to maintain optimal brain functioning, reduce our risk of depression. It helps your hair to grow, because your estrogen levels get too low, you can start losing hair. Because some women, they actually, after going through a procedure to remove their uterus, sadly, or even like just going on a strict fast where they're not eating enough, or they're
Hmm.
just straight juicing, that can result in a significant drop in your estrogen levels, which can cause your hair to fall out. It can cause you to suffer from symptoms of depression, and it can throw your other hormones off too,
Mm.
like your thyroid hormone, your thyroid hormones, and even the hormones produced by the adrenal gland, which is on top of the kidneys and also helps your body to produce estrogen and progesterone. So when you say estrogen dominance, it just simply means that it's on a higher end of normal, and that could be slightly different for every single woman. So it's so important you get your hormone levels checked before changing anything.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. Thank you for breaking it down because it just makes it plainer um to hear you break it down the way you break it down because it's hard like when you just like you're a doctor so there's certain things that you study and you go more in depth with whereas like me I'm just layman like okay well hormonal imbalance your balance get the hormones off you know that's how
It's both important,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. So yeah, that's good to know because like back to food, understanding.
Yes.
I always tell people, I've been saying this lately. Start when you go grocery shopping. First off, I always tell women, start like when I have sessions, personal sessions, I always say, start making like look up if you because even sometimes I don't have like inspiration of like what to cook for the week. And I'm cooking for a whole family, not just myself. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
have three little ones, my husband, myself, and I'm cooking for a whole family. So I have to plan accordingly. So what I do
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I can't think of something to cook, I will Google vegetarian meals, vegan meals. I Google those keywords. Vegan meals for a family of five. Or, you
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like
That's important.
vegetarian meals for start using those keywords, even if you're a meat eater. You know why? Because you can always add meat to almost anything that you make that's vegan or vegetarian. You can
Mm-hmm.
almost add meat to almost all of those meals if you choose to. So I always say go with the vegetarian or vegan first. Let that be what you see first. So then when you start to make your list for the foods that you want to make for the week, because I'm going to tell you, it's not always easy to keep a menu, but having a menu, especially if you are someone that's dealing with estrogen dominance, the imbalances, the fibroids, if you're dealing with all of that stuff, or you want to avoid dealing with it, like if it's something that runs in your family or things like that, then I'm sorry, you cannot be one of those people that just eat anything just because you want to. You have to be calculated. You have to think about it, or else you might be sorry because now you got
Mm-hmm.
to go back and fix what in a sense has been broken. So I always say it's good to like write a list down, like get kind of sort of like a menu first, break down the menu first. Like I always start with beans, like if you want beans or if you want, I don't know, a salad, you might want to make a big hearty salad on Monday. Okay, write that down. Make sure you write that down, then write down for each week. Try to make stuff where you can have leftovers or try to make stuff to where you make a lot of one thing so then you can come back around and add that for the next, like maybe if you eat something Monday, eat it on Wednesday. Skip Tuesday so you're not feeling like you're eating the same thing and then skip it and eat it for Wednesday. Or I always say that I always use beans because beans is like a staple for someone who's not eating
Mm-hmm.
meat. Um, if you do beans, let's say Sunday, you're making your meal for Monday. Okay. If you, let's say you choose beans, let's say you go more Southern style with beans, right? So you might do things that have more of a Southern taste to it. So make a big pot of beans and start off with making them very plain. Start off with making them very plain and then take half of them and make it into that Southern dish that you want, but then take the other half of it and make it for another dish. So now you can make it into like an Indian bean
Mm-hmm.
dish where you can add turmeric and ginger and garlic, all those different. So now you feel like you're eating a different meal, even though those are the same beans you made on Sunday. You changed up the seasoning, and guess what? Those seasonings that you add to, let's say, that Indian dish, they're all seasonings that your body actually needs. That's going to help. That's going to help your body as a whole. So I always tell people that. And also, when you go grocery shopping, shop around the perimeter of the store before you go into the middle of the store. The middle of the store
Mm-hmm.
is what gets you most of the time. The middle of the store is where it has a lot of the processed foods, foods that have way too many ingredients in them. You have to be careful. And then I tell people, so you go, around, start off with your produce, fill your basket up with your produce first. Okay. Fill the basket up with that first. And then once you make it around to the meat, try to find meat you can afford, of course. But if you're going to get meat, I always say start with the organic or the grass fed. It's going to cost more, but guess what? Buy less of it, which means you're not going to be bringing a lot of it in the house. And it'll be like a treat. Like, okay, I can't eat meat every day. I'm not going to eat meat every day. So I'm going to plan this around one meal for the week. I'm going to add meat to
And
this
one thing
dish.
to think about
Yeah. Add
with
that.
the meats,
Yeah. Add
pardon
that.
me.
And then you make your way around the whole store. You go try to stay away from the dairy. Dairy causes mucus. And I'm not saying I don't eat dairy sometimes. I just got over being sick. And it was because I ate too much dairy. I went too far with it. If you're really on the bad side of fibroids and things like that, try to eliminate it altogether, at least either forever or for a season. But for me, I eat it a little bit, just a little bit. But I went too far, and it caused a lot of mucus in my body, and it caused me to get sick.
Yes.
I didn't have COVID, but I was sick, like throat, everything. I was sick, and I'm just now recovering from it, and it's been over a month. That's how long I was sick, and it was all from eating too much cheese. So, and ice cream. I went too far. So you have to know yourself as well. But once you finish around that perimeter, getting everything that you need, eggs, try to get omega. If you eat eggs, try to get the omega. Is it omega-3?
Omega-3. That is,
Get the
yeah.
omega-3 eggs, y'all. This is your life. This is your health. Omega-3, because then you're giving your body what it needs, and it doesn't have all those extra hormones from the cheaper eggs. And then when you do get to the middle, this is the last part I'm gonna say because I know I'm taking over the conversation. I'm sorry. But when you get to the middle in the middle, try to get the ingredient. Like if you pick up something, let's say you pick up, I don't know, let's say you pick up some ketchup or some salad dressing or ketchup, and it has more than 10 ingredients, put it down. Don't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Get the one that has the less than 10 ingredients in it.
Agreed. And make sure it doesn't have sugar because sugar is in
Definitely.
everything. And the refined sugars are not only a couple of things without that. Refined sugars are inflammatory in the body for sure. Also, too, if you're eating too much sugar, it puts it taxes your thyroid gland, and it actually taxes your adrenal gland. So the thing about it is these two glands produce a thyroid hormone and also other sex hormones that actually help you to have, a healthy menstrual cycle.
Mm,
So if those, and yes, high gut health nurse, yes, it wrecks the gut.
hmm
So basically, the thing about it is with the refined sugar, it's so important that you pay attention to that because sadly, sugar is in almost every single packaged item that you can find.
Ridiculous.
So it's really important that you read your ingredients on that. Plus, the sugars actually do increase your risk for diabetes and also fibroids. It actually stimulates the growth of those. So
Hmm
that's really important that you pay attention to that. There's so many ways that you can sweeten your food without, sugar. You can do sweet potatoes if you like sweet potatoes. You could do bananas. You could do dates. And date syrup has a lower glycemic index on coconut sugar. But even then, be careful with that, not too much.
Yeah.
The other
Moderation.
things you can do too to spike up your food, you can use a little bit of vanilla if you like, or even like what I like to do, I like to save the skins of my organic lemons or organic oranges and I
Mm,
freeze them, chop off a little piece of it, put it in my porridge in the morning, and that, a little date on the side, and that works with some coconut milk. It really tastes pretty good. You have to just kind of be creative.
yeah.
And Anali was saying, God helped her, and I feel like he helps me come up with recipes because sometimes I'm like, I never knew how to really do the plant based originally, but when it comes to coming up with things, you can look up a recipe online, or if you're one of those people, that just have a hard time with like following recipes, start with one or two and then just try to recreate new ones from that.
Yep.
Um, but yes, we might be very careful of the sugar, and also to watch how your body responds to some of these what we call superfoods. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of superfoods out there, but what's super for one person is not going to be super for me, for you. So it's
True.
really important you pay attention to how your gut is reacting to it. If you're getting bloated, constipated, or headaches or nausea, any of that stuff, that's a sign of inflammation in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to make sure that you are mindful of those symptoms. Like have a little journal, but not to go nuts, like, to have like any type of food anxiety. But you want to pay attention to how foods are responding in your body. Because the thing is, if it interrupts your digestion, you might not be absorbing the nutrition from that food. And then that actually does the opposite of
Mm.
what you're trying to do, which is heal the fibroids. So for those of you who can afford it, I honestly recommend that you speak with a naturopath or a MD with a holistic background
Mm-hmm.
to get food allergy testing, actually, because a lot of women don't realize that they do have, like, they some of the foods that they're eating, like they're going vegan or other things, and like, why is this not working for me? Like, how come I'm going plant-based and I'm still having, I still have fibroids, it's not improving. Part of it could be the fact that the foods that you're eating, even if it's organic and non-GMO, sometimes your body's just not responding to it well.
I definitely
So if
agree.
you can either have a journal or get tested for allergies, that's great.
Mhm.
So that'll be great.
Yeah, that's good. That when it all boils down to it is about awareness. A lot of times we tend to eat mindlessly. We've been trained to just eat for taste and what we like. And it's not always about eating for health, eating to live, to live. So what ends up happening is because of the way the world is set up now and because of the things that they're putting in food now, hey there, because of the way they're putting um just that they're sneaking a lot of stuff. Dr. Tanya said they sneak a lot of sugar, but they're sneaking a lot of other stuff like
Yeah.
words we can't even pronounce. And here's the thing, not looking at we sometimes get so caught up in just shopping real fast and throwing stuff in the basket. And my husband, he's
Mm-hmm.
finally learned after almost 10 years of being married, he'll go, "What takes you so long at the grocery store?" I'm reading. I'm reading and making sure that I'm trying my best not to put number one because of my religion. I'm trying to make sure there's no gelatin,
Pork.
pork gelatin
That
in my
too.
food. I need to see the U on the prop package. What's that? Unorthodox. I need to see the K for coat. I'm just trying to be careful. And then you add the
I
fact that
feel
I'm
you.
trying, yeah. And then you add the fact that I am trying to make sure that I'm mindful of not only what I'm
Mm-hmm.
eating, but what I'm giving my family because it creates a bad habit. You are just eating anything because it tastes good or because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you were raised eating. What starts to happen is, and I don't know if I ever said this on our live before, but I've said this before. Fibroids, and I get like the way we're genetically made up, like my
Mm-hmm.
mom, I have my mother's genes, right? I have her genes. So, and she had fibroids. So, of course, there's something in me that can cause fibroids, right? But here's the thing. Some of the have like when you think about diabetes, you had a higher rate for diabetes or high blood pressure, cholesterol issue, all those issues. A lot of us say, well, that runs in my family. Okay, well, what it is that runs in your family is the bad habits a lot of time. Yes, the
Yes.
genetics are there too, which means your body is not agreeing with the habits of your generations, the generations of what they did, and they bring it back, they bring it to you. So you tend to like think that is normal because that's how, if my family grew up eating chitlins, as stinky as they are, and me now, just the thought of it that I used to eat them, but I ate them because my family ate them. So it was something that I was raised with. So it was normal for me. But then as I started getting more knowledge about it and realizing pork is not good for me, uh, um, crab, shellfish, that's not good for you. And you know why it's not good? Even outside of the Bible, it's not good. Think about what the sea creatures are, what the
Yes.
animal
What they're
is.
eating.
Like they eat, pigs eat slop. They
They
eat
do.
slop. They don't sweat. So they hold the
Yep. They
toxins in their
don't.
body.
They sure
Okay.
do.
And then, crabs, shellfish, they have toxins in their body because they're eating their bottom feeders. So everything that they've eaten, now you cooked it and now you're eating it. And then you wonder why. you have fibroids, or you wonder why you're sick, or you wonder why cancer is at you. I mean, it's just a whole lot that's attached to food. Is your relationship with food and the awareness of what you're doing.
Yes.
So you're not doing it just because it tastes good. And just because, well, this is just how we was raised. And this, well, it doesn't mean you have to do it. It just means you need to, at least if you're going to eat it, have the knowledge of eating it, like what it is. Like, okay, well, I'm still going to eat it. I already know it's toxins, but I'm going to eat it anyway. At least admit that if you're going to do it. But don't just
Yeah.
mindlessly eat it and then wonder why later. Why are you sick, or why your kids are sick? Because nobody's making any changes or researching what you should be doing. And that's my mindset now, is like, I have a daughter, and if I can help it, I do not want her to get fibroids if I can help it. So what I'm doing now is, she sees me juicing, I have her help me juice.
Mm,
Sometimes I'll leave
that's
the boys
awesome.
home. Yeah, I'll leave the boys home with their dad, even though they got to learn too. So sometimes I take them as well. But I'll take her to the grocery store with me, and I'll have her pick the apples out. Is that organic, Abigail?
Mm,
Oh, that's organic. Okay, let's get that. Let's get this. Let's get that. Okay, no, we're not going to get that, because I don't think that's going to be good for us. It's me educating her and putting it in her mind. This is how I need to eat. So when I'm good and gone, if I'm out of here, I hope to be out of here before her, I want her to have something that's a good habit, a good generational habit, so that either she doesn't get fibroids, or she knows how to fight it naturally, if she
mm.
can, if possible.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I have a question here. Just to kind of talk, just to briefly talk about some foods. There's I have a follower that's saying that, I hope you can hear me because they're saying I'm freezing sometimes. But anyway, that she has some, menopause and headaches every day. One of the issues of menopause is that, our estrogen levels as women declines as we get to menopause, which is part of the reason why we suffer from headaches, night sweats, hair loss, brain fog. So basically, the thing about it is that, you want to make sure that there's foods that you can eat actually to help you improve your estrogen levels. For one, I did mention soy earlier, but if you're gonna go that route, it has to be non-GMO and organic, and you can't just have it once a day and think it's gonna work. Maybe like mostly the miso, was it miso, tofu, and tempeh, because it's fermented and easily broken down in the gut and digested for absorption. Like if you had a little bit at breakfast, a little bit at lunch, that's fine too.
Can you say that again?
Um,
What we should have? What did you say?
oh, like if you had maybe like a half a cup at lunch, a half a cup at um
Miso.
breakfast. Yeah, miso. Miso is another one, or even tempeh. If you don't want to do tofu, that's another thing.
That's it.
But then there's other things you can do to improve your estrogen levels, guys, or ladies, I should say. Chickpeas. Chickpeas are a great source of plant-based estrogen, along with hummus. Awesome. What else? Let's see. You can take a blend, a third cup of chia seed, a third cup um of flaxseed, and a third cup of sesame seed. Blend it up and put like a tablespoon on your cereal or your yogurt. Again, 2 to 3 times a day, right? But remember, the thing about the flaxseed is, and the chia seeds, any seed, you want to grind it fresh, put it in the freezer, and use it up in a week, because those oils do go rancid. So never buy any blend ground flaxseed in a container, because likely the nutrition, the omegas are gone, like, and
Oh,
then the
that's
oil
good
is
to
bad.
know.
Yeah, and then it goes rancid in your body, which is just causing inflammation. So you want to be very
Mhm.
careful with that. Also, someone else mentioned, yes, gut health nurse starting earlier, intervention prevention. She's referring to how you basically take your daughter with you to the store. So I just want to say that's just awesome.
Thank
So
you.
basically, there are, and again, like Natalie was saying, if you're going to eat some meat, with balancing your estrogen levels, grass fed, kosher is best. And I want to talk about one other thing. I don't know if you had struggled with this Natalie, but when I was struggling with fibroids, I suffered from intense anemia. So
Mhm.
hemoglobin for a woman should be anywhere. So basically, it should be between 12 and 15 mgs per deciliter. Now, that's some scientific stuff. But the bottom line is this. Mine was actually a third of that. I was between a 4 and a 6 for about 1 to 2 years. And my doc was saying, wow, if you keep up at this rate, you can suffer a heart attack. And at the time, I was strictly plant based. I was like, what? What are you talking
Yeah,
about? Heart attack? I was eating plants, you know? uh,
that's
and I
scary.
was like, that's not going to look good.
You're right.
so, so the thing about it is, if you're, you want it for, and I've even heard stories of one woman she had fibroids and she found out she was anemic, but she didn't know, interestingly, that she had fibroids. But what she did notice is her hair was falling out. So one of the things that we can do to help us to maintain healthy iron levels is chlorophyll. There's a remedy that I use and it really helps a lot. I wish I had it with me. If you take chlorophyll, it's to help to cleanse the body, but it also builds up the hemoglobin.
Hmm.
Take a third cup of chlorophyll, a third cup of black strap molasses
Unsulfured, unsulfured, right?
unsulfured, yes, unsulfured, because it's a great source of iron. Plus, I think a third thing. So the black strap molasses, goodness, I don't know why. Oh, some type of vitamin C,
Mm.
whether that's a third cup of lemon juice, or and you can even make it in smaller batches than that. But basically, or even the vitamin C powder, or even the I want to call it. Actually, I'll just leave it at that. There's a camu camu cherry. Yes, I saw
I
that on one
have
of
the
your
powder.
posts.
I have the powder.
Yes, the powder, even that, mix those three things together: blackstrap molasses, chlorophyll, camu camu cherry, or lemon juice. That's a great tonic to build up the blood,
Yep.
and it also helps with, regrowing hair. So, because the thing is, when some women do lose their hair with fibroids, and
Yeah.
so that will actually help bring more oxygenated blood to the scalp.
Hmm.
So you want to make sure you're keeping building up your blood, because if you're losing a lot of blood from fibroids, then that can increase your risk of a heart attack, and you don't want that.
Oh, that is so
So,
scary. That is
yeah.
so scary. I didn't, fortunately, I didn't, well, I'll say this. I didn't keep up with doctor's appointments. I didn't. And it had a lot to do with the fact that I didn't want to be told that I needed surgery. And so I felt like, well, I ain't dying. So I'm just going to keep working at it myself to see what happens. Now, I don't recommend that for everyone. I'm not saying do that just because I did it. Okay. What I'm saying is, I do know women who have had to have blood transfusions.
Mm.
Almost every single period they've had to have. Yeah. Dr. Tanya, she had, but yeah, sometimes sometimes you have to go to the doctor to make sure that you're okay. You don't want to be on your deathbed at home, bleed out, you
Mm.
go to sleep and not wake up. I'm just being real. So you want to be careful and you want to stay up with that. But it's back to being aware, like awareness. Like when I have my periods, I still have periods, but when I have my periods during the time of me having the fibroids, I would be super weak. I would be super weak, but I was still functional. Or something in me just kept me going. I don't know if it was my kids or what, but I was able to keep going. But over the years, I started realizing that there were certain things that I needed to do to help supplement during those times. So I was kind of start planning things out when I knew when my period should be coming or when it was going to come. I would do things like I would do the unsulfured blackstrap molasses. What was it?
Mm-hmm.
Lemon juice,
Mm.
some apple cider vinegar, baking soda. I would put a little bit of baking soda in it
Oh, I heard about that too.
and water, and I would drink that. And that would help build my iron levels up before I lost all the blood. So I
Mm.
would kind of plan for it where I would just in the morning get up and just drink it as like a tonic in the morning. But it's all about being proactive. All that you have to
Yes.
be proactive. You can't be inconsistent and think that just out of nowhere things are just you're gonna be okay. You have to be proactive. Even with the supplements that I use, I tell people all the time, like, you can't just live every day and think
Right.
that number one, we're getting older. That's just all of
Mm-hmm.
us are. Once you're born, you are getting older.
Basically.
A
Yep.
baby is, once they come out the womb, they're getting older.
Yeah.
They just not old yet. You know what I'm saying? Not old,
Yeah.
but they're getting older. Every day we're getting older. So you have to be like, just proactive in what you're doing. You cannot just live and not give your body nutrients and not take good vitamins and not,
Mm-hmm.
I take collagen. I take
Mm.
liquid collagen. And I do that because I had inflammation issues. So I was taking it for that reason. But taking it actually in the one I take is really good. So it has all kind of like nutrients in it. And it's not just, collagen. But what I noticed is it's what helped the fire. I have to be careful saying this because you can't make medical claims. So try to be careful on what I say, but I have to be
Yes.
real. But it helped to
Mm-hmm.
loosen up those fibroids, the hardness of the
Mm.
fibroids. It started softening them up. I noticed the difference, like from, I know every woman is different that's dealing with fibroids, but I would have
Yes.
that issue when, if I was bent a certain way and then I went to get up, I could feel like a pull. Like it was a weird pull. And it was the fibroid.
Mm.
It was the whatever
Yes.
biggest one I had, it was being pulled. It was being pulled. But what I started
Mm.
noticing is as I juiced every day, I mean not every day, those 3 days out of the week, I juiced 3 times out of the week every week. So I was juicing, doing the nutrient, giving myself those nutrients from the fruits and vegetables, from the teas, taking my daily supplements, making sure I ate a certain way, giving myself less of the bad stuff, more of the good stuff. And it just taking the collagen, taking the pro. I take a pre, pro, and postbiotic that sometimes I'll add to like oatmeal or a smoothie because it's these little beetlets. They're little beetlets. So I take
Mm.
it up, and there's a pre, pro, and postbiotic. So I
Mm.
would take that, or I do take that. Minerals. I'm taking all of this stuff, and I was doing it. And people are like, that seems excessive. You better be excessive if you want to be healthy. Because think about it, your body, there's more output going on. So where's the input coming in at?
Yes.
What are you putting
Yeah.
into your body? What are you actually putting into your body? What are you putting into your body? So you
Basically.
do have to do your due diligence, find out what you need to do, find out, what you should be taking, the minerals, the supplement, just whatever you need to do, just do it. Just bite the bullet and do it. I don't always have like a big budget to do what I want, but I make a way because I just want to be healthy.
Yes.
I have a
So I have a
question.
question here. Oh,
Okay.
okay. I'll let you go ahead.
Um, Two questions because I want to acknowledge someone who asked the question a while back. She said,
Sure.
plant-based good.
Oh, I saw that one. Oh, okay. Oh, we can see both questions. Okay, I didn't
Wait,
realize.
you can see
I
the
wasn't
question?
sure who. Yeah,
Oh, they must have
unless she
changed
went
it.
on your side too. I don't know how this works exactly, but I think she probably went to your side is plant based good. Yeah, I'll let you answer, and I can answer too as well.
Okay. Well, yes, plant-based is good. Plant-based is good. And yes, I think Dr. Tanya will have a better answer than me because I'm not just plant-based. I do eat some meat some of the time. But going even if you have to go plant-based for a while just to kind of like recalibrate your mind so that you're not all over the place with eating just anything, then maybe you should do that for a season just so that you can get yourself straight. Um, and then kind of sneak little things in here and there without going crazy. Yes, plant based is definitely good, but you have to be careful with, like I said earlier, the processed
Mm-hmm.
plant based stuff because it's 9 times out of 10. Sometimes it is still genetically modified, or it's still stuff in it that they sneak in the food that would not be good for you. So you got to be careful with that.
Yes. And I'll just add a little bit to that because I know you said you had a second question. So Jeff, for the plant based, I'll be honest with you, I did go plant based when I found out I had fibroids. I was a little vegetarian. I was vegetarian before, but then I just said, "Whoa, fibroids! No, I'm going all in." So I did go strictly plant based, and what I found was when I did the uterine fibroid embolization, which is UFE. I went strictly mostly vegan. I did have a little honey here there, but I made sure I had my 3 square meals a day. I did some smoothies. I did some juicing. And when I went back to my 6-month appointment, my doctor was like, whoa, you're like 60% ahead of the curve of most women.
Mm.
My fibroid shrunk significantly by comparison to others who have done the procedure. So he was really impressed, and he actually didn't even believe me when I told him about my diet changes. So if that's something like, Natalie was saying, if you're interested in doing that, by all means, do I would say is if you can talk to someone like a holistic, and you can even reach out to me here because I've done it. Definitely reach out to me, and I can coach you through that, the whole plant-based diet, because there's a lot to learn, but it's also manageable, and how to get foods less expensively so you're not wasting money, because I was there too as a med student, with spending way more money than I should have been. But there's a way to go about this strategically so you're not wasting money and you're getting the nutrition that you need. So
Yeah.
yeah, by all means. And then also to now be honest with you, currently I'm not 100% vegan. I do eat some meat, but if I do, and that's because of food sensitivities, which is why I talked about the testing, um, which I'll keep another conversation. But the main thing is, again, if you're going to have meat, make sure you stick with grass fed, kosher. And if you go for seafood, smaller fish is better than larger fish. So I'm talking about, and obviously I go with I make sure mine has fins and scales, no shellfish, no shrimp, and that stuff, or lobster. But the thing is, the
Catfish
smaller ones,
catfish is not good for y'all. I know it's the cheaper
yeah.
meat. It's not good. You know why? It like literally has slippery skin. Like nothing penetrates it because it doesn't have the whole point of scales and fins means that it's able to breathe. Any
Hmm.
toxin that's in the body is able to breathe out of their body so you can consume it without having just these stuck toxins in their bodies. And then back to like pork or meat that is injected with, with hormones.
So, yes, definitely. And like if you would, I say the smaller fish like sardines. I'm probably right. That's cool. Yeah, sardines. I haven't, and salmon. That's a larger fish. But the reason why they're saying the research is saying smaller fish is because of the mercury. You don't want to be like, intoxicating yourself with a fish diet. Like, I mean, some people say they're pescatarian. Be very careful with that because the mercury is a heavy metal. It's toxic to the body. Make sure you're getting your cilantro and your parsley in there to help you remove heavy metals from your body and
Yeah.
detox your system. So I'll
Yeah.
let you get to that second question because I don't
Okay.
want
And
to.
just
I have,
know
yeah,
just know you all, moderation is everything. You have to be temperate in all things. The Bible
yes,
even says that. It's about
yes,
moderation. It's about moderation and knowing how to give yourself. And like you said, make sure you all go follow Dr. Tanya. Make sure you go follow her. And
thank you.
because she's making herself available for you, if you hit her up and you have questions, you can ask those questions, y'all. She is a doctor. And she's a
I am.
medical doctor, okay, that has decided to focus on a holistic approach to things. And there's not a lot of doctors out there like this, okay? And there's not a lot of doctors out there that are black, female, that have gone through having fibroids. Remember that because sometimes we get these doctors that ain't never seen a fibroid in their life. And I'm not bashing any doctor. But what I'm saying is
Yes,
I feel some kind of way when if I'm going to I really prefer not to go to male doctors when it comes to like OBG, like those type of doctors, because gynecologists, because I'm like, even though you studied it, I get it, you studied it, but you're still not a woman. And
yes,
I need somebody I can like, we
relate.
have the same autonomy, and you understand what it feels like to have
Yeah,
a period, or eventually what to have how to have a baby, those things. So make sure you follow her, okay? And you all can link up with me as well because
yes,
I do sessions, private sessions where I can help at least give you some type of guideline of where to start, what supplement. All I do is show you what I used. And then if you want to repeat those steps, you can, or you can start with it or kind of modify it based on what works for you. But she just asked, did you say you add something to your baking soda water? Yes, I said I add is that the only question? Yeah, she said I said that I add unsulfured um molasses. Wait. Did I say that right? Blackstrap. Unsulfured blackstrap molasses in lemon juice. And if you want, you could do apple cider vinegar. But I wouldn't necessarily say to drink it like that every day because that's a lot of acid, but the baking soda does
Mm-hmm.
help to balance out the acid. That's why I put the baking soda in it, just to balance it out, the pH of it, because too much acid will throw your body out of whack too. Let's see. Okay, she said she went plant-based 12 years and stayed sick. She ended up getting vertigo. And she said her doctor told her to get back on meat and she improved. The truth of the matter is sometimes you do need a little meat, but
Yeah.
it's about moderation. Our
Yeah.
bodies are not made to have a lot of meat anyway, y'all.
Yes.
Your body's not made for that. I even what I the reason why I don't talk about a lot of the supplements that I use because I don't want y'all to think that I'm just trying to push what I use. But the supplements that I use are all non-toxic and they're clean label. And one of the things that I do use that I take whenever I eat meat, especially beef, I have enzymes, digestive enzymes that I take.
Yes. That's
So
important.
it helps to break down the meat out of my body faster. Like if I want it, I'm like, well, you're going to have to use some enzymes because that is not going to break down into the body out of the body the way it needs to properly. It'll sit there for a long time, like very long and ferment in the body. And that's not good. Um, bless you too, sis. Let me see. Who, what state is the doctor in? She asks, what state are you in?
So I just want to clarify something. I'm in the state of Oregon. So I'm a medical doctor, but I chose to focus on education and coaching women as opposed to going to the traditional residency tracks. I'm not practicing in terms of like gynecologic care or family medicine,
Okay.
but I focus more on education and health coaching and providing you all with top-notch, well-researched information. And I coach you through the process of helping you balance your hormones through diet and nutrition. But you can definitely find me on here on TikTok. So that's Dr. underscore Tanya, and Instagram Dr. underscore Tanya underscore Lambert. That's my last name. But yes, I'm in Oregon.
And I did a video. I don't know how long I'm gonna leave it up, but for now, there's a video up of me talking about we were going live. So that's up, and her name, her not her hashtag, but her @ is there. Like her
Yes,
name handle is there for at least TikTok. Is there okay? And I think
yes.
actually at the end I did put the Instagram, even though we didn't get to go Instagram like we thought we would. Next person is saying, what foods should she eat for inflammation?
That's a pretty broad question,
It is.
just because it's based on what your health issue really is. Now, if it's related to fibroids, there are different things that you can take or eat. Your cruciferous vegetables, that's broccoli, that's cauliflower, and also Brussels sprouts.
I wrote all
So
that down.
those, yeah.
Can I give
So
them the list?
those,
Can I give them the
yeah,
list
huh?
for you?
Oh,
It's
yeah, sure.
it's cabbage, bok choy, broccoli,
Yes,
Brussels sprouts, kale, and even radish.
yes. Those foods are excellent for reducing inflammation and also certain types of berries. Well, berries in general, blackberries, raspberries, as long as you're not allergic to them, strawberries, those are good. Goji berries, excellent for reducing inflammation in the body and also protecting you, from heart disease as well. This is really important. Um, some of the things you want to stay away from, honestly, um, if you, let's see, just sugar, we talked about sugar. Some people may want to consider, staying away from wheat for a little time,
Hmm.
just because unless you know for sure that it's coming from a really good source, sometimes this has to be causing inflammation in your body. Oils, don't try not to fry. Because I know a lot of us we like our fried food, but the frying actually causes the oils to, burn up and go rancid. So some of the oils that I actually did not fry much when I was going through the my healing process with the fibroids. I stayed away from that. Very, I'll bake my plantains as opposed to frying them or steam them or
Mm.
something, you know, or bake my potatoes. So that's the thing. Frying, you want to limit that, but you can saute. You can still do that. And like with the oils, olive oil is great for reducing inflammation, but only when used as a garnish. You never want to cook with olive oil.
Hmm.
I had, did you have another question? Because I had like two.
Let me see. No, in my TikTok is New Light 7. If you look up at my thumbnail up top, where my picture is, it says New Life 7. You can even click that if you want to add me. And then if you want to add Dr. Tanya, I think she's on the opposite screen than me. So
Yes.
you see where her picture is, like right down in
It's
there?
also on the upper
Oh, it's on the
left.
upper for you?
Well, for
Okay.
me, I
Because,
guess.
yeah, we
For
all
me
on
it is,
different, like,
yeah.
right now, she's probably
Yeah.
on this side for those of you watching me. And I'm for her on the opposite, like right over here. I don't know that it changes up depending on who's we're on. But I don't think, let me see. You get so weak. You have fibroids. You are more than welcome to contact myself and Dr. Tanya. I prefer
Yes.
emails. If you go to my profile, you can press email and send me an email because the DMs get kind of crazy and I miss a lot of your DMs. So yeah. Okay. Somebody had questions?
Yes. So it's two additional ones just to repeat. One when I talked about the iron, the blood building tonic, chlorophyll, black shot molasses, unsulfured, lemon juice is what I use personally. And I just do equal parts of each. You could just, and I take a tablespoon in the morning with my breakfast. Some people take on empty stomach. I like it in the morning with my breakfast. And the last question I think I saw on my end was, and this one is important, I guess we probably should have mentioned this at the end. What are the symptoms of fibroids? So, because sometimes people don't know like what it is or if they have it or not. Just real quick, fibroids are basically benign tumors that can grow in the uterus, either in the lining of the uterus or within the muscle of the uterus or on the outside, on the surface of the uterus. And basically, if they grow on the inside of the uterus, it can actually cause bleeding or prolonged uterine bleeding. That's one thing. But if it's growing on the outside of the uterus, it can compress nearby organs like the bladder, or even it can compress the bowels as well, or the colon, resulting in excessive, like causing you to feel you have to pee more often, or even cause constipation. And for some women, it can also cause discomfort and pain during sex. And of course, if you're bleeding profusely, then you can have symptoms of anemia. So that's like lightheadedness, headache, fatigue. Your skin might look pale and your hair will fall out. So those are like the symptoms
Mm.
of fibroids. And that's pretty much all the questions I have,
And
and
I,
also
I
all
would,
the time I have for this evening.
okay. And real quick, I just want to add before we go, never take, if anything abnormal has happened, please pay attention to that. Don't just take it as normal just because it's something that's been happening for a long time. Go get tested and find out
Yes.
if it's something more serious. Don't just live like that. You need to find out.
Yes.
Okay. You heard her say all the things that she mentioned. Those are signs that you could have fibroids. So go get yourself checked out and then go from there. Well, how you
Yes.
choose to
Very
heal from
important.
it. Yeah.
Yes, make sure you get an ultrasound, your blood work, and if they recommend it, get an MRI. So
Yes.
they're very important so you can actually make educated decisions for yourself.
And don't be emotional in your decisions.
Yes,
Don't be
very
emotional. Be
important.
very logical and just calm down. If you find out you have fibroids, don't, go with I need surgery and I need this. First, do your due diligence and, study, figure it out.
Yes, yes. And don't forget, for those of you who are people of faith, to pray and
Yes.
trust God and ask Him for guidance.
Yes.
So, really
Don't call
important.
them my fibroids. They are the fibroids
The
because
fibroids.
they are, you didn't invite them into your life. I mean,
Exactly.
you could have
They're
technically,
intruders.
depending on how you ate and stuff, but ultimately what I'm saying is
True.
you don't want them there. So don't
Yes,
lay claim to them. They do not belong to you. You want them gone. So speak differently about them. They are the fibroids and you want them gone. Have that in your mind, that mindset.
definitely. Thank you so much, Natalie,
Thank
for
you.
coming on this live. And yes, definitely for all my followers, definitely follow Natalie at New Light 7. She's an excellent resource, for fibroids, and for she talks a lot about nutrition and supplements and lifestyles. It relates to that and healing. Definitely follow her page, and please, definitely check me out as well, Dr. underscore
Definitely.
Tanya.
Yes.
So basically, I'm here to coach you, and this is about coaching and education. So please reach
Amen.
out to me as well. All
Yes.
right, y'all. Have a good night. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna stay back. So any of you want to stay on, you guys can stay on. I'm gonna stay on another maybe 10, 15 minutes for any other questions. I'll see you later,
All right.
Dr.
Have a good
Tanya.
night. Okay, bye bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Natalie.
thank you all for, let me make sure. Okay. So yeah, thank y'all for sitting through this and gaining the knowledge. I hope this is something that will be very helpful for you all when it comes to your healing process or even just learning so that you can help others. Fibroids is something that is common, but it's also unfortunately not talked about enough. And it's definitely not talked about enough in the mind frame of healing and finding out the options that you actually have to heal naturally, or just the other ways of healing, whether you do get surgery and you need to heal from there, and just having the knowledge that you need to make sure they don't grow back and, you know, all that stuff. So I appreciate you all. If anyone has any other questions, if you want to link up with me, you definitely can send me an email. If you go to if you press my thumbnail up there, right there, if you press that, it'll send you to my page, to my profile. And in there, you'll see where it says email, send me an email. And then I respond. Give me a couple days. Sometimes I don't respond right back. Sometimes I do. It just all depends on what's going on, because I have a whole family, a whole husband, 3 little ones, got a whole life going on. And then I have other, like I set up a lot of private sessions. So sometimes I'm just in appointments, with Zoom calls. So if you also want to have a Zoom call with me, a private session, to help get guidance and to just kind of like dig in my head, like get like pick my brain in a sense, you are more than welcome to do that. I will show you how to link up with me, and we could set up an appointment if you would like, because sometimes what it is just trying to figure out where you want to go with it. Like, how do I even get started? A lot of women don't even know where to get started when it comes to healing, when it comes to healing from fibroids, when it comes to overall health. A lot of times we tend to focus on, oh, I need to lose weight. That's the problem. No, it could be something deeper than that. And you need to figure it out so that you can heal overall, like wellness overall. Like you really can get into a place where your body, can just be in a healthy place. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that any of us that have knowledge, that we be willing to share it. Knowledge is power. And sometimes we focus on knowledge of just like common knowledge or knowledge about history, knowledge about different things, but we don't always get into the knowledge of power of health, the gift of health, because all of that matters. A lot of times we tend to settle for the ailments that are given to us, that are passed down from generation to generation, the dis-ease, the discomfort, the disorders. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to necessarily accept that. That could be something that you work on so that you can change the narrative of your life. You actually have the power to do that. You know what I'm saying? At least have the knowledge that you need so that you can make like better decisions. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we don't. We just accept sickness. We accept having fibroids. We accept having high blood pressure. We accept having inflammation. We accept those things. But then we're never proactive in what we can do to help it. Or we just accept, oh, well, I'll just take this medication. I'll take birth control. I'll take this. I'll take that. But never think to go like necessarily like a holistic route, or because I'm going to tell you, me self-healing from fibroids the way I did has helped my health all the way around. So it went deeper than just, oh, I self-heal from fibroids. It's like, no, I'm actually healthy. Like, because there were other things that were trying to brew within my body. I felt it. I felt sickness trying to attack me. I felt it coming on me. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. I was someone who, I started having kids after my 30s. I wasn't someone super young having kids. Not that 30 is old, but you know how they look at that when you're in your 30s and you're having kids. What do they call it? Geriatric age, or they call it something like you just super decrepit or something. But I chose to have my kids later. And a lot came with that after. A lot did come with that. Like my health as a whole started declining after I had my kids. I found out I had fibroids after I had my kids, and I had my kids back to back. So my body was just all over the place. My hormones were all over the place. I had inflammation issues. I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm only 5'2". So it was like, I got to do something about this because I don't want to die young. I don't want to leave my babies. You know what I'm saying? They're little. I don't want to leave them. And I'm not even supposed to not be here. I'm supposed to be here. So I chose to take action in that and do something about it. So I hope that we've been able to encourage, if not all of you, some of you, into just being mindful, the mindfulness of your health, the mindfulness of your choices, your awareness of what you're doing, what you could be doing wrong, what you could be doing right. Just being aware because it matters. It matters. Your awareness matters. You walking into a grocery store and purchasing food without looking at the ingredients, or just grabbing stuff just because it's what you're used to doing. We all got to do better. And that's why, like I said earlier, it takes me a minute when I go to the grocery store, because especially if it's like a new grocery store, I'm like walking through and I'm looking at the ingredients and I'm looking to see if there's anything in it that I shouldn't have, or if it has too many ingredients in it. And I'm like, no, I don't feel right about that. So I'll put it back. Like, you have to be aware.